Alright, so chat. I got a calm little PvE build for y'all, right? This is the BlizzardForge V1. Nice little PvE Diluvian, right? Capable of soloing Wave 50. I've done it. If you can't do it, you can lose it. And 2 cycling chaser on a good day, alright? So without further ado, let's get into this Frost Flame Mage build, alright? So on our race, right? If you don't got that multifaceted Echo talent, you're gonna go with Vesperian as touted as the best race for PvE builds, right? On our Oath, we're going Dawnwalker, with our origin being Deep Down. If you're not going Deep Down, then what are you doing? For your outfit, I'd just go into Ignition Detail with the survivability. I really like Force Your Way, right? But if you want more damage, then I go with the Prophet's Call. So on our belt, right, we're either going to get a Corrupted Payback or a Corrupted Sacred Field. I would suggest a Sacred Field because I like the survivability. If you want to maximize your damage, you definitely go with Payback, right? To start off with, you can begin with your attunements, right? If you don't want a few extra points at the end of the build, if that doesn't really matter to you, you begin with your attunements. I don't know why the Murmur is Tacit, like, you're gonna go harder. So as I was saying, if you don't want a few extra points at the end of the build, then you start with your attunements, right? So we're gonna begin with 5 Flame Charm and 6 Frost Draw, right? So for our willpower, we're gonna instantly go up to 30 for a few much needed talents like Perseverance, which will come into play later. And we're gonna go up to 50 Fortitude for stuff like Exoskeleton and Instant Finish. So at this point in the build, a lot of builds will tell you to go 80 willpower for Heretic Sutra to get Lose Your Mind and Piercing Mail. But if you didn't know, Lose Your Mind and Piercing are functionally useless for our intents and purposes, right? So we're not going to get Heretic Sutra, we're not going to get Lose Your Mind and Piercing Mail, which will save us a little extra time on the build, right? Alright, so after you get 50 Fortitude for Exoskeleton into the finish, we're going to go up to 30 Strength for stuff like Berserker and Charge Return. And then we're going to go up to 50 Willpower. And then 90 Fortitude for Reinforced Armor, yeah. You kind of need Reinforced Armor as it's a pretty good, pretty substantial health buff and to your survivability. Then we're going to go up to 100 Willpower and then 100 Fortitude for Brick Wall. Because if you're not running Brick Wall, then like, again, what are you doing? Take it from me. I'm the best PvE player around, right? So with 1 Charisma, that finishes off our pre-shrine, right? So with the Shrine of Order, and your stats should look a little something like this, right? So from here, you're going to go up to 25 Charisma, 10 Agility for, okay, so like this 10 Agility point is kind of contested, right? The Vigil Hood, which is arguably the best helmet for PvE, as you can get some pretty good pips on it for EVM and Monster Armor. It says that it requires 10 Agility to put on. I've tested this, and it does not actually require 10 Agility, but I'm not sure if it's a bug or not, so it might get fixed soon. So I would go 10 Agility on this build, but if you don't really care about having this build for a long time, then I suggest just going 5 Agility for Time to Go, as it's a pretty good speed buff for when you kill mobs, right? So on this build, we're going to go 10 Agility. For our Flame Charm, we're going to go 40, and then finally 80 Frost Draw for those nice level 5 mantras. You might have a few points left over. I just put those into Frost Draw if I were you. So on our attributes, we can go 6 Vitality and 6 Enchant for a good balance of survivability and damage. As this is a mage build, we do not need proficiency, and erudition isn't really necessary for PvE, right? You can run anything you will for your boons and flaws, right? And after that, we're going to move on to the talents, yeah? So we're going to pick up Reinforced Armor, Brick Wall and Not a Scratch, Volcanic Glass. We're going to pick up whichever Will-O-Wisp talent you want. You're going to pick up Carnivore, and then Fishman into the finish. We're going to get Neuroplasticity and Mythic Stability. Pressure Claws. Whereas Respite, I'd say, is quite possibly one of the best like quality of life talents. A really good talent. I'd suggest you go Whereas Respite. With Skipper, you can get it if you want, but I'd skip it over on this build. We're going to go for Blood Iron Spirit and Undying Flame, so that we can cast our Graceful Flame underwater. Scuba Drowner as well. Now onto the common talents. We get Flame Within, Time to Go, Grand Feast. Go down here. We're gonna get Underdog for a pretty big damage buff. Tough Love for 10% damage on charmed enemies. After Tough Love, we're gonna go for Charge Return and Cauterize Wounds, so that we lose less blood during the Diluvian. You can go for Produce Spark if you want one fragment on this build, but it's not really necessary. We're gonna go for a Temperature Shock so that we can be proccing our crystals. We're gonna go for Glacial Ice, and we're gonna get all these Adept Frost Jar talents for free. We're gonna go for Orbital Ice, The rest of the glass enter path, you'll get Fortitude down battle for free. You can go for Agitating Spite and Immolation, along with Eruption Path that you will get. We're going to go for Last Resort, 11th Hour, and Uproar. Old Habits Die Hard, Breathing Exercise, Berserker for Calm No Damage buff, Full Reset so that we can keep our bell up for as long as we want, Replenishing Knockout so we actually heal back while we're doing the Diluvian, and Artist Green. On many mage builds, you wouldn't go Artist Green, as you kind of need Ether to cast mantras, but there will be another talent that will come a little later that will basically nullify this requirement, right? So we'll have Armor Conservator and Steel Scales, and here's that talent I was talking about, right? Hungry Flames, right? When you have no Ether, it will consume your stomach and water and instantly cast your next fire mantra, right? So you won't be able to cast like Frost mantras, but as I said before, like those Frost mantras aren't like necessarily your main output of damage, but still a calm little talent to have right here. Along with Carnivore, you'll basically always be able to cast fire mantras whenever you want, right? We'll go for Pocket Bombs. And lastly, Magical Resolve. You can go for Termite for that plus 3 HP if you have gotten the prerequisite for it, but I'm not sure anyone has ever went to a fighting god before, so now onto the mantras, right? So for the mantras, we're going to go with Relentless Flames, right? Flame Sentinel, if you want, for a bit extra DPS. Warden's Blades as one of our main ice mantras. We're going to go with Ice Cubes, and if I can find it, Ice Flock, oh my god. Our Oath mantras, we're going to be using Blinding Dawn and Radiant Dawn because they are pretty cracked for PvE. And on mobility, I'd suggest Ice Skate, but if you want to use Flame Leap, then that's also alright. For our support, we're going to go with Graceful Flame because Graceful Flame is cool. And if you don't want a Graceful Flame, then you can run Reinforce for just a little bit more extra damage and defense. And lastly, we're going to go with the Flame Wisp to lower the damage that the Flame Within will be doing to us, right? So as you can see from our talents, we have a max of 60 talents and a 51 obtained talents, which gives some extra space on this build if you want to go for other talents that I did not pick up here. For our weapon, we're going to be running a 3-star damage Providence Thorns Battle Axe, right? And Providence Thorns is a pretty big staple for major builds, as we don't really need that M1 damage, and Providence Thorns is just pretty good if you're parrying, right? So for our rings, we're going to be running a Strength Ring, a Willpower Ring, a Ishin's Ring if you're good at the Diluvian, and a Ring of Casters, right? And that will bring our damage to a calm little 157%. Alright, so that's been a showcase for y'all. Make sure y'all don't wipe. Remember to like and subscribe, alright?